Mr. Ashry, talking about the arms sales, the US arms sales increasing over 20% now. How are they impacting the geopolitical tensions? And we're focusing mainly now on the Middle East and Eastern Europe.
Greetings to you and to the viewers. Absolutely, such figures will lead to the continuing threat to the international order and the regional order as well, affecting the Middle East, which will worsen the conflicts and will lead to the sustainability of the vicious cycle of violence. Continuing the aggressions against neighboring countries, or the Israeli war on Gaza and Ramallah, and it enables the Iranian confrontation during the upcoming period, as the US is now supporting military operations regardless of any serious implications of these sales. The Pacific region and Russia and China as the sorry.
Well, Mr. Ashry, also speaking of major European economies, how do economic pressures in countries like Germany and France affect their defense spending?
When there are huge arms sales, such as in Germany, which is a huge economy in Europe, with a lot of arms spending, this will lead to continuing continuing the buys of German sales, worsening conflicts such as the Russian-Ukrainian situation. In addition to countries in the Middle East diversifying the sources of weapons, and they find the opportunity in the US and the European countries such as Germany, giving Israel a lot of advanced weapons. Such sales will achieve a lot of gains to those parties who seek the continuity of these conflicts, especially in Asia and in the Pacific, as well as the Middle East, as we find such countries, such powerful countries, making these sales and achieving a lot of revenue out of these sales, which will undermine the economic development in a lot of regions around the world. And the Middle East is the best example of that, as the economic development is being held back due to the ongoing conflicts.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Sadler, other than the economic pressures, what are the political factors preventing NATO members from reaching the 5% GDP defense spending target?
Oh, thanks. Just to be clear, I think the current official target is 2% of GDP, but clearly President Trump has stated that it needs to go much higher. And there have been numerous NATO delegations that have come through DC that echoed the same thing based on their own independent security needs, that 2% is the floor. It is certainly not the ceiling and the end goal. But the political pressures, quite frankly, are driven by the security concerns that many Europeans are seeing right now at their doorstep. A war that has not been seen in this scale since World War II, and with refugees from Ukraine that have traveled throughout Europe. Again, this has also played out with the collapse of security in Syria, when you also had large numbers of refugees traveling into Europe, and it wakes up many Europeans that they live in a very dangerous world. And really the question before many of the political leaderships and the elections that we're seeing is that Europeans are having to make a choice, give up very favorable social programs for security that they've allowed to lapse and neglect for far too long. And I think you're seeing with more conservative and common sense governments that are coming to power, across Europe that you're going to see a more balanced approach to security, economic development, and perhaps a reprioritization of too favorable, in many cases, social programs.
Mm-hmm.